Yeah, yeah. Okay, I think I'm a boomer. I think I'm a zoomer. I think I'm a doomer. Damn, I'm like a zoomer. Okay. EWGWHITE coming with the heat. I stay fooling with my bop, my tunes will make your speakers hot. Dance floor, hopscotch, baby, do the pop and lock.
Welcome to the Grillcast, the only podcast in the world dedicated to radical centrism. I am your host, Orion, and joining me today, as always, is Micah. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man.
And we have a very special guest today on our 10th episode, double digits. We fucking made it, boys. We got Annika O'Brien. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. I failed to show up last time. I fell asleep.
Ooh.
Yeah, it really hurt. You know, I thought I was done getting stood up, but
Oh.
Yeah, I got a message from you the next morning, and like I caught all your Facebook messages.
Was he seething?
No, he was like, "So you still on?" And I was like, "Oh shit,
Oh.
I forgot." Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't seething. You can't be like that.
Yeah.
No, you're cool. You're actually the reason I left that commie group. It's supposed to be the centrism, but
Wait, what?
the way that you were mistreated, Orion, Onion. I keep wanting to call you Onion.
Onion.
Oh my god, that makes me feel so happy that someone finally recognizes my plight.
Yeah, well,
my oppression.
I've had people think my last name O'Brien was Orion, which I think which doesn't make sense because it visually looks nothing like it. So
no, and I've had people call me O'Brien all the time.
I just want to make sure you realize that whole situation with the group was a bit.
I realized that after I quit the group. That's okay.
It was like half a bit because I was told I'm permanently yeeted. I had an idea that I probably wasn't, but I thought, you know what, fuck these fools. I'm putting a jihad on them.
Yeah, if you guys want to segue into the one thing you wanted to talk about, so that group, I had to block so many people so I wouldn't be tempted to react or interact with some of them because I think I'm on my 4th 3-day ban, or I think the first time they give you like 12 and then the second 24 or something like that. So I'm on either my first or second 3-day right now, and I'm 12 hours until I get released. But yeah, so I was in a group and I was arguing with, one of these like anti-capitalism kind of people. And she was making no sense. And I asked the girl I said, look, I'm not disagreeing with you, but could you please send links to the resources, the research studies you're talking about, because you're making an argument. And you said that, research has shown. She said I was mansplaining. I think
well, mansplaining.
Well, they think I'm trans. That's why I'm in the group. Yeah, they think they think I'm a trans man. I'm in the group because it's a bunch of SJWs and SJW trolls, like people who go in there and pretend to be SJWs. So anyway, the point is that she thought I was a trans person, so she said that I was mansplaining. And
that's transphobic.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I said, LOL, you dumb bitch. And then right after I posted, I was like, you know what? I better delete that. Facebook was right on it. There wasn't even enough time for somebody to have reported it. It happened so quick. As soon as I refreshed and went to hit the delete button, I got that 3-day.
It shouldn't even be a language issue. Like, Facebook shouldn't monitor for language. They should monitor for, in the interaction, whether or not they were actually being a dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Like, they should have a panel.
Get their best fact checkers on that.
Exactly.
Just read through the thread.
Like,
all right,
well, she's not wrong.
Yeah.
Facebook is fact checked, and they found that you are, in fact, a dumb bitch.
Yeah, we've been having the same issue with like the word retard and retarded.
Yeah, that's what you were saying earlier.
What am I supposed to say if this person's being a retard?
There's no other word to accurately describe it. Like, you can call them a simpleton. There's other words, but it just doesn't. It's not as
spell
inclusive.
It in a way that they know it. Okay, so like
like Carlos. Carlos said redacted.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
you
I thought that was pretty good. You redacted.
That's actually good. Yeah, because that's even better.
Say you're redacted.
You redact. Ooh, that's even better. I like that. So you mentioned that you got a ban. How many have you had?
I've had a few bans. I've had probably like 3. My
From the
last one
group
was
or
3.
from Facebook in general?
Oh, from the group, I've been
Oh,
banned like 100 times. I've
oh.
been banned more than anyone else in the group, and it's because this is what happens. This is part of my plight that I'd like to describe to you that you've supported me through. Um, so there's a few mods in that group, and they see how many likes I get, how many people, interact with me and talk to me, and how much everybody in the group loves me, and they get jealous.
The
They
Jannies.
get filled with impotent, jealous Janny rage, yes. And they have no choice but to mute, to ban, to kick, to delete, and to say, it's like a temper tantrum. It's all they have. It's sad and it's pretty cringe.
I think there's a bigger issue. It's not just that people like you, it's that you do a really, really good job of stating things in a way that we know you're joking, but there's so much truth in what you're saying. Like,
Thank you.
you do
I
a
agree.
really that's why I noticed you, is because you're so good at, like, conveying this, like, extreme bullshit opinion that everyone in the whole group is, like, the smart people secretly kinda know you're being truthful. Like, you can be over the top with it to the point where there's so much truth in what you just said, and I think that's the other thing, because 'cause you're clever, and that's the other thing that bothers them, and that is in turn what makes people like you.
It's why some people, thank you very much, by the way. It's why some people have called me America's greatest satirist.
Well, isn't that
And
why you brought me
Some
on here and paid
people.
me
Some.
$100 was to say that? The check cleared, so,
I'll Venmo you it after the show.
okay. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not just, like, trying to kiss ass, but that's why you stick out in that group, because a lot of people say a lot of
Besides
things.
my dashing good looks.
Okay, well, alright.
I'm sorry, continue.
Well, your girlfriend's good looking.
Oh, very much. She's way
Yeah,
out of my league. I'm
yeah,
like I'm like one of those retarded fat cartoon dads that somehow bags like a smoking hot wife.
yeah. That's actually good.
Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, like Fred Flintstone, Peter Griffin, you know. So let's go ahead and move on from this subject. I wanted to ask you because I know that you're formerly a roboticist. Is that accurate?
Yes.
When are we going to have sex robots?
We kind of already do. They're horrible. There's more than just the mechanics of it.
I'm talking about not women, like sex robots.
No, there's okay. No, there are sex robots. They're just very expensive, and there's actually a guy. If you go on Twitter, he's quite interesting. I'd like to. You guys might even want to interview him at some point. His name is the Dollhouse. There's like an underscore in there somewhere.
Oh,
But
I've seen him.
yeah, he's interesting. I think he's in the UK.
He's like a MGTOW guy, right?
Oh, no, so he hangs out in the MGTOW spaces because how many people want to fuck a plastic doll? Like, that's kind of an obscure
Whoa, whoa,
obsession.
whoa.
No,
What?
Probably all of our listeners.
Is this Disney? Okay. Oh, you mean because I'm offending your listeners? Okay, I thought. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't, because there's so many more things involved in sex that's not just mechanical.
While we're on this topic, can you clarify a certain rumor I heard? Is it true that all Japanese people are sex robots?
Probably. At least those within the limits of Tokyo, I'm sure. You can get
Okay.
Japanese people out of vending machines, I hear.
Not just
Okay,
not
thank
just
you.
their soiled
Thank you.
underwear anymore. Now you can get the
exactly.
whole thing.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, and as a woman, how do you feel about sex robots?
I don't Well, see, that God, this is a long conversation to have. So regarding sex robots, again, it's more than just mechanical action, or else people crave intimacy with another human. Like, there's more than just the spurt. They like the smell. I mean, we're social creatures as much as people want to believe that they are loners and I'm not a people person. It's like bullshit. Then stay at home and wear your mask. Like,
I think a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah, no, not in Houston. Well, for a long time in Houston, they were really good about it. That's where I've been living. But there's definitely people have hit a breaking point. They call it like lockdown fatigue, or there's some name for it. Where you just get sick and tired of being told that you're going to die if you go outside. So there's a lot that can be beneficial with the sex robots, I think, especially somebody who, see, this is the thing. I'd need to see more actual social science on it, because I don't think there's a net positive if our society is having sex with plastic
Like how, but
as
we
a
don't know how
replacement.
far we don't know how far, they can take it in terms of replicating human intimacy.
Like
Yeah,
maybe they'll give it like nice perfume. It's like, oh, this smells like a woman, and maybe it'll
no,
be like,
no,
wow,
no,
you
it's
are
different.
so big, and then I'll be
It's
like, wow, this
different.
does everything that I want it to
Ah,
do.
no.
Cook some
Like,
food.
the pupils will dilate after
Yeah,
orgasm and,
they'll
like,
be
Yeah.
like the
blush.
synth. They'll be like the synths from Fallout
You
4.
realize that would be, over $1 million for just one doll, right?
That'd be billions of
Right
Dude,
dollars.
now.
no, okay, you know the Honda Asimo? They spent over $10 million building that thing, and he falls down a flight of stairs. Like, come on. I'm serious. There's, like, compilations on YouTube of him tripping and falling. We're not gonna
That might
be
be a feature for sex robots if they can get like knocked up.
yeah. Oh, that's horrible. Aw, I didn't know it's this kind of podcast.
shoulda listened to an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually, so I, not to use excuses, but I've been moving, and it's been a very tedious process. And then just work. It's like I'm moving while working full, like 40 to 50 hours a week. So
Now you moved into the suburbs, right?
sort of, I'm not in the city anymore, but I'm not out in the suburbs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like in that. Yeah. In Houston, there's really, it's funny because somebody mentioned, like, oh, you better be careful. Someone's going to dox you. I'm like, I live in Houston. There's really only 3 neighborhoods I can live in, given my, my demographic.
Yeah.
There's
I'm
not
not
a
sure I
lot.
understand what that means.
Yeah. Okay. So Houston's landmass is bigger than the uh, country of France. And I want to say like Italy. Like, we're bigger than a lot of places. Like,
Wait. The
the
city of
land mass.
Houston,
Yes, Houston. If you take Houston, it looks
Houston.
like a giant bullseye because we're not up against water.
I have to
Uh,
look this up.
we're not near an ocean, and we're flat as fuck. That's one of the reasons our floods are so bad. So we're
Are there a
super
lot of
flat.
flat earthers there?
Yes, actually, yeah.
That's pretty based.
No, we're actually far left. Houston is extremely left.
Yeah, it's all big cities.
Okay, Houston's not bigger than France, just so.
Yeah, is it Italy? Square, like, square kilometers, it's bigger than, I think it's bigger than France
So
or Italy.
Houston's landmass is like 669 miles.
Okay, hold on.
Is that bigger than Israel?
Bigger than,
669.
I have
It's
to look.
probably
Because they have like huge, things. Okay, well, Texas is the size of France. I'm way off.
yes. It's yeah.
Okay, I'm not, sorry.
I was gonna say, holy shit.
I get up
Just so
at
we're
like 4 every morning, so
people
just
know
so
we're
you know.
fact checking here.
Okay.
This is a
Okay.
fact and logic based podcast.
I know that there are places that Houston is bigger than that are like small countries. So
Now I want to ask, you do work in investment banking now in the industry,
yes,
and other than landlording, investment banking is the most centrist profession. I want to ask, do you think that they get a bad rap?
definitely. Especially nowadays. No, I'm not being sarcastic, and I'm not being like a capitalist. We are, oh gosh. So the CEOs in my industry are getting awards for the DEI, for like diversity, inclusion. In fact, I think it's Bank of America is giving like a ridiculous, you can look it up. It's a lot of money. It's like millions. It's like probably like 100 million to Black owned businesses. It's not giving. See, so a lot of people were mad and said, "Oh, the banks are giving money to Black Lives Matter." They're not. What they're doing, I actually really agree with what they're doing. They're using their corporate power to help set up long term assistance in underserved areas. Yes, that's going to disproportionately affect Blacks and minorities, but it's gonna benefit everybody. It's gonna benefit rich white people. It's gonna benefit everybody. I'm serious. It's like a lot of these, I'm being serious. Like a lot of these people think, oh, well, if you help out Black people, you're hurting whites. It's not true. That what they're doing is they're setting up assistance programs, grants and such for business owners. They're not just passing out cash. So when it comes to like the far left is not doing nearly as much for equality for women's rights. The company I work for has
As
like
the banks.
I'm serious. Well,
Hell yeah.
a lot
Oh
has
my
changed.
God.
And this is the thing. They think, oh, big fat bankers sitting around making their millions. Yeah, they're making millions, but you know what? Like, okay, the company I work for, I'm constantly being sent emails on, hey, be sure to record your volunteer hours so that we can, because they want to keep track of stuff like that. I can donate up to $5,000 a year to any 501c3 and my company will match me dollar for dollar. So see if I wanted to give $5,000 to Black Lives Matter, they'll give $5,000 to Black Lives Matter. I'm just saying, like, that's not who I'm going to donate my money to because it all goes to Act Blue, which is political.
I will not simp for the banks.
I'm
I
just
will.
saying, I'm just saying the company
Not only will I simp for the banks, but I'm thinking about setting up a 501c3. You said
yes,
the grill charity.
I'll send you I'll send you my $5,000 for the year.
Provide
Send it
grills
to
to
your 501.
families.
You better
Yeah.
do it quick because I've got to donate before the end of the year for it to end up for my taxes.
There you go,
Holy
buddy.
shit.
So
There you go, buddy. Can
yeah.
you
So
imagine?
well, anyway, I mean, not yeah. I'll simp for the banks. They're not all good. I'm not saying that like banks are better than anybody else, but a lot of them have changed because they're getting
Hmm.
people that care about the environment. They're getting people that care about equal rights. They care about like social impact. They're getting those kinds of people to work there. So I don't think these leftists realize like if they want to make a difference, they can go work at a big, well, they do understand that because they'll do that in schools. They always go for the easy jobs. By easy, I mean ones that don't require as much education or, licensure. Like my
Or
job,
facts and logic.
yeah, like my job, standards are a little higher than I can't believe they hired me. But like they run a credit check and a federal background check every 90 days on you, which seems a little absurd.
Do you
I
think
think
your
like
opinion on this matter could possibly be biased?
no, I went to work for the company I work for because I feel there's a lot of good that can be made. And I feel like I can use my position to help others. Because I'm in a position where I can actually help people who need it. Like right now, after we're done recording, I can tell you what I do for a living.
Right. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
do you really think that you're doing more than people screeching on Twitter?
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
we're
I
you know,
think they might be carrying a little bit more weight.
exactly. Yeah, behind their keyboard.
they're bringing the issues to the forefront. And if what you're saying is true, that a lot of these institutions are changing policies
They're actually
to
on the front
serve people,
line. Yeah.
then really they're only doing that because of people screeching on Twitter.
Yes, exactly. I mean, to be quite honest, I know that I'm not in an altruistic industry, but there is a lot of good that happens. Like there are a lot of companies that want to use their power for good.
I mean,
Because
okay.
keep in mind, like our generation, I'm probably a lot older than you guys. You're like what, 16?
I'll be 16 in April.
Okay.
I'm basically 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of people that work for these companies that they genuinely want to make a positive difference in the world, and they're going to use their position and their power to. They're not going to cheat the system. Like they're not going to hire people that aren't qualified just because they're a certain color or gender. Which I hear that the far right, or I guess it's not the far right, it's the manosphere. They're the ones that annoy me because they think that just by being a Black female, you can get any job you want. That's not true. Because anytime you have like groups that appear to be getting preferential treatment, you have people who say, F that, I'm not going to hire this person because they have it easy in life. And I mean, we notice when they do it to white men, when they say, oh, well, white men are privileged, but there's a group of people who think that like a trans Black female is privileged. And I
Yeah,
mean, it
that's
really
stupid.
comes down to the individual
Yes.
and your
That's
circumstances.
obviously dumb. But
Yeah. Well, that actually that parlays us perfectly into the article I wanted to show you guys. So, this article is The Pope Blesses Business Plans. A new initiative brings the Vatican and CEOs together.
The CEO of my company just did a live stream with the Pope, and that's what I watched this morning, was a live stream with the Pope and my CEO.
Oh my god, so we got an inside information
No, it's for everyone that works at the company, but I don't think it was published publicly, but it's for morale boosting. And anyway, you can read the article. I want to see what they say about it.
All right. It may seem an unusual pairing. Big businesses and Pope Francis, a pontiff who has repeatedly criticized capitalism in scathing terms. But they announced a new partnership today, the latest sign of the growing influence of environmental, social, and governance, or ESG, practices in business.
That's my whole job, is all about ESG.
See, you're making a difference.
Yeah, I told you guys.
Meet the Council for Inclusive Capitalism with the Vatican, a group of businesses, investors, and other groups that represent 2.1 trillion in market cap and 200 million employees. The group has announced pledges towards environmental and sustainable business goals that fit into the ESG movement with Francis's blessing. And so there's 27 leaders known as the Guardians for Inclusive Capitalism. Yeah, I can tell they're good guys because of the way that they're stating this. We have Ajay Banga of MasterCard, Mark Benioff of Salesforce,
Brian Moynihan.
Yeah, Ryan Moynihan of Bank of America.
Catholicism has gone corporate.
No, okay, so this is the thing. First off, all of these people that are doing this, they would be considered more conservative. Now, they're liberal in the sense that they're for equal rights, but they're not leftist. That's the thing. Like the CEO.
No, they can't be leftists. They own so much capital.
There's so many leftists that own capital, though.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's so many. Look at Hollywood.
I think at the same time they're liberals. So I don't know if they're like truly leftists in Hollywood. I think like socially
they're posturing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I look at someone like Patton Oswalt. God, we can go on tangents all night long. So someone like Patton Oswalt, who has millions and millions and millions of dollars, and he's always been really funny and entertaining. And his wife, or I don't know if you know, Michelle McElroy or Mac, I can't remember.
Macaroon?
No, it's like Matt. Anyway, his wife passed away. She a few years back.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was actually really sad. So long story short, she was a writer. She was like a reporter, and she got onto the Golden State Killer story. And she became kind of like an investigator on that. She dug deep into it. In fact, she's the one who coined him as the Golden State Killer. Well, right before she died, oh God, I wish I could remember her last name now. Right before she died.
She said, I have Hillary's emails.
No, yeah, exactly. No. Oh, that's funny, but that's sad. No, so she was writing a book about it, and she came up with a really big break because we still haven't found him. He's like, I don't know if you know the story of the Golden State Killer. It's like there's podcasts dedicated to that whole thing. Anyway, I mean like full blown podcast, not like a one episode. So she had found, like my whole capitalism story, she had found some like breaking news or whatever. And she passed away. Well, they're publishing her book anyway. He was asked during an interview recently if he will release the name, because like that's a big fucking deal. There are lots of women that were terrorized, that were raped in their own homes, that were killed. I mean, this guy terrorized people for years and years, and all across from Northern California to Southern California.
Truly an inspiration to us all.
Yeah. You're so I don't know, sexist? Would that be the?
I'm joking.
I know, I'm just teasing. Okay,
but yeah, anyway. I am.
Yeah. So my point is that so she possibly solved the case or got really close, and people were asking him, "Hey, could you like, tell everybody who this person is?" And Patton Oswalt has tons of money, and he's like, "Oh, you'll have to wait and buy the book." And
oh my God. I'm sorry, what?
You'll have to wait and buy the book. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you think you know who the Golden State Killer is or where he may reside, And you're like, I'm not a book. It's like, what the fuck? Dude,
That's a pretty based centrist move. I'm not going to lie.
No, that's like ANCAP policing.
Yeah, it was so weird because I'm like, that can't be real. Like he comes across as being an anti-capitalist but he didn't even write the book. His dead wife did. Like it'd be one thing if he was starving and he was like about to lose his house, then I'd be like, okay, maybe start a GoFundMe and be like, hey, I'll tell you guys, could you help out? Like do crowdsource or something. But no, or crowdfunding. But he's like, yeah, he's like, buy my book. I need more
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then, oh, maybe you'll find out. And that's such a effed up
It's probably not even in there either. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
it's a bait and switch.
Stay tuned for more.
Yeah, book
To
2
be
will have it, I swear,
continued.
guys.
Yeah, to be continued. Yeah, it's a
All right.
trilogy.
Speaking of continuing, in this article, great segue. Regarding the super group founded by Pope Francis and many CEOs, the group is the brainchild of Lynn Forrester D. Rothschild, the businesswoman who has backed ventures to promote so-called inclusive capitalism in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis. So, yeah, the rightoids are gonna fucking go into meltdown mode over this, like, they're going to see Rothschild and be like, no, they're great resetting us. No.
Are you like familiar with the Great Reset shit? Have you paid attention to that much?
Yeah, I have. I think it's just, I mean, they kind of have a point. I think that like inclusive capitalism is a big part of that.
Does this mean we're going to be able to buy stocks in the Vatican soon?
That'd be pretty based. I'd buy some of those. But like right after like some kid gets diddled, because you know the stocks would like crash then, you buy on the dip.
Yeah, you buy.
When a Prius dips, you buy in.
Oh, you're horrible. Oh my God.
Well, you don't buy on the dip, you buy on the
Onion's gonna make me cry.
But you have to admit, as someone who works in the industry, that'd be a good investment strategy, yeah?
What if you had insider knowledge?
One of the Prius is like, all right, I'm gonna take the altar boy on the 12th. You
I meant like
keep an eye on it
because he's a pedo insider.
Holy
It'll
shit.
be more like inside him, not inside her, but you know.
Yeah, it's inside him. That was more accurate. But okay, so I think there's a lot of logical, like, I don't want to say scientific, but there's a lot of socially logical reasons for us to try to get those at the bottom up.
No.
Really? You don't think so?
I agree with you on this.
Well, the thing is, I don't think we should just have wealth redistribution because the Pareto model, because all that money's going to end up in the hands of the hardest working, the strongest, the smartest. Again, it's just going to keep all that money is going to keep piling back up within a couple of generations. What we need to do is we need to change our culture. We need to we need to have infrastructure in place to help people that don't have access. Are you familiar with the Evergreen College professor?
Yeah.
What's the thesis?
Brett Weinstein. Anyway, I'm
familiar with all the Weinsteins.
He did a podcast with Joe Rogan. He was talking about how we don't have wealth inequality. We have like more inequality and opportunity, which is very true. And at first when he said it was like, wait, what? And then you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. There are pockets where like young people have absolutely nothing to look forward to. They can't it's easy to say, oh, just go get a job at McDonald's and work your way up. Just work hard.
That's retarded.
They don't.
That's what I tell people to do.
They don't.
Just ask your parents for a loan to buy a house like I did.
Exactly. Just take out. That's funny. When you say stuff like that, yeah, it's funny, but the reality of it is most millionaires don't inherit a dollar. Like, so that's the other myth that needs to be dispelled. And I know this because of my job, but like, yeah, most people that are millionaires are self-made millionaires. There's this idea that you just inherit everything. And another huge portion of millionaires that did inherit something inherited it after they became a millionaire, and it was less than $5,000. So it wasn't enough money it didn't really make a big difference.
Well, does this guy does this guy think that it's that the majority of the problem is a inequality of opportunity? Because I think that it's more so a mix. I think it's
He
inequality of opportunity and an inequality of ability.
Yes, inequality of ability is another thing. And I mean, this is why we have to have trades because different people have different personalities, like desires. Like there's a lot of really smart people that are highly intelligent, highly skilled,
They're drug
very
addicts.
adept. No, no, very adept at what they do, but they do blue collar hard labor, like they're a plumber or they're a construction worker or they do something that, we that requires a skill and they have to be really good at what they do, like being an electrician, and they have to
Yeah,
get
my
licensed.
father's like that.
Yeah, but they're really intelligent people, but they could not work a regular 9 to 5 office job to save their it's just not their personality type.
Yeah, no,
But
I
that's not
couldn't
to
do
say
that.
they're dumb or that, they're not good enough for corporate America. I mean, corporate America is I'm speaking highly of it now, but like there's a lot of things that are annoying about it. It's not always sunshine.
I've never heard that before. That's news to me.
Yeah, yeah. There aren't enough songs about it or poems about how horrible corporate America and the neon lights or whatever they call it. What is it? The fluorescent. That's it.
Yeah.
Under fluorescent tubes.
See, I think that you make a good point when you talk about this because I could never work in a corporate job. My job of owning many houses, renting them out, and evicting people and they don't pay is just so much more fulfilling
Yeah,
in a way
But
that
that's
just
not a real job.
couldn't.
I hear that
that
there's
is a real
absolutely no
job.
work
That is
involved.
That's
absolutely
land phobia.
not.
Please don't
Yeah,
bring that onto my podcast.
I'm being sarcastic. So what
Okay, good,
real quick,
good.
real quick, let's get on to that because
Okay.
that's a good topic for discussion. How the fuck is home ownership not a job? I have owned this house for 2.5 weeks now. It has been a part-time job, just having things, fixing stuff, like
do
having to get
you
things fixed.
do you have
Having,
grass?
yes, I have a lot of.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, I
So
have
sorry.
bunnies and I'm gonna have chickens too, so I don't have to buy eggs.
Oh,
Um,
there you go.
Nice.
Nothing better
yeah,
than some fresh eggs.
yeah, I have grass because, well, okay, so that's the other thing. These people don't make any sense. It's like you can tell how sheltered of a life they live based on comments they make. Where I live, you get in trouble for not mowing your lawn because your fucking grass grows so much because it rains so much. You don't have
Yeah.
to buy grass here. I don't plan if I did absolutely nothing to my landscaping, I guarantee the HOA wouldn't send me anything for like a
Well,
year.
all you have
It
to
would
do is buy out most of the homes, and then you are the HOA.
Exactly. That's what's called a pro gamer move.
I'll get right on that. Let me go sell my Bitcoins
I mean, yeah.
and all of
If
my
you
vacation
don't,
homes in Tahiti.
if you don't want to mow your grass, then work hard for it. I mean, shit.
Yeah. But anyway, the thing that I kind of wanted to get to is this idea that being a landlord is no work at all. I mean, I've been a renter long enough. Most of my life, I've been a renter,
Uh,
and sometimes I've rented an apartment, other times I've rented a house from a private owner.
I'm
It was
glad you've
always
ascended above that.
yeah. Well, I mean, the rates are low. I kind of couldn't afford not to be quite honest. The amount that I was paying to rent, it would sicken you if I showed you a side by side of the rental versus where I am now and the price.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
it was such a I don't understand how people
That's the thing that rentoids, they're always like, well, I can't afford to buy a house. I have to live like this. And it's like, being a rentoid is more expensive a lot of the time. You're just, if you stopped eating avocado toast and you stopped,
okay. So
buying craft beer and Funko Pops, maybe you could afford a house like our best friend Annika here.
Okay, so FHA loans, you can get 3% down. If you have $150,000 house, which outside of Houston, there are $150,000 houses that are nice, that have a lawn, that are decent. You can get if you're in a tiny town, you can get a house for like less than 100, like
Yeah.
60 grand. If you want something modest, something with a garage. I mean, they're not bad homes, but you just kind of have to live out in the middle of nowhere. But now that we have work from home, that's not a big deal. Where I was going earlier is being an owner is a job. Like there's a lot of work involved in owning property. It's hours every quarter to like file stuff. I mean, I have all this shit that I have to keep track of.
You know, I have carpal tunnel from signing so many eviction notices this month.
No, honestly, these people think we sit in a fucking basement and collect checks.
Do you guys really own properties that you rent out, or is
We
this just
swim
part
in
of
money.
the thing? Okay. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I
Like
don't
Scrooge
know.
McDuck.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, if you put 3% down, say if it's FHA, say if it's a $150,000 house, do that math, what, 4,500? So you would let me think. You could save up that amount within less than 5 years, even if you're just putting away a little bit. Because if you're putting it in a nice account that's earning you like 8% with compound interest, you could definitely have that within a couple of years.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing. Like everybody says, "Oh, I'm too poor to this and that." I go through credit card statements. I see where stupid poor people's money goes. They all have a couple $100. No, they all have a couple of $100 a month that they could put away. I could for years, like all in my early 20s, I was stupid with my money. A lot of people are when we're young.
Are you consume shaming?
Well, no, I've made some really dumb financial decisions in my life, like really dumb, like really, really, really dumb. I could go on for hours about how ignorant I've been in the past with money, and it finally kicked in like in the last few years when I got my job that I really
All
shouldn't
right, well,
be so dumb.
Yeah.
take it easy because like
Okay.
signaling against consuming is signaling against our society.
Yeah.
I think part of what Annika's saying is that she used to be a rent hog. You know, she used to be one of these people that couldn't budget, couldn't be fiscally responsible. And then, you know, she looked at her finances, she straightened her shit out, and now she's a homeowner. She can do it, and all these other people can do it too if they just take a little personal responsibility and pull themselves up by their bootstraps.
I know you're being sarcastic, but there's some.
I am not.
No, he's not.
Okay.
No.
There is.
No,
I
he's not.
don't like the bootstraps comment because of the way it leaves a bad taste.
I have literally seen someone pull themselves
No,
up by their
no.
bootstraps. It is possible. It is
I
possible.
literally seen someone.
Yes.
Were they bound to a wheelchair?
In fact, it was Orion. It was Orion.
I could
Guilty
see,
as
like,
charged.
if someone's in a wheelchair and the only way to move their feet is to pull it up like a what do they call the puppeteer?
Oh,
Marionette strings.
Marionette. Yeah, like, they marionette their shoes. That's funny. So, but yeah, homeownership is work. The other thing that these dummies don't take into consideration is any investment has risk, and real estate renting is relatively high risk because you're asking a complete stranger to not destroy your shit and to leave when you tell them to.
Yeah.
So, and not burn down your property. Like you have to pay for insurance. You have to. Oh, the other thing is there's so many regulations in place that if something goes wrong in the house, like right now, my fireplace doesn't work. The gas, we have to bring the thermocouple needs cleaned out or something like that. Well, I could just let it stay forever. But if I rent the place to somebody and I tell them everything works and one of the amenities is a fireplace and it doesn't work, they could easily be like, okay, well then I'm going to withhold X amount for rent. They could complain. Now, even though it's not the same as like water, not having water, or it's not, it's not like they don't have lights or something.
And the other thing people don't realize is that 9 times out of 10, your rental property is going to become a trap house.
Yes, that's very common. Yep.
I've actually experienced exactly what you're talking about. On one of my rental properties, one of my rent hogs called me up and said, you know, my toilet isn't working. You need to come fix this. And it's like, dude, you have 2 toilets. Go use the other one. Like, what are you talking about? It was fucking ridiculous. These people, I don't know where they get off.
Why doesn't he just poop outside?
Yeah, exactly. I have a
There's a
perfectly good
yard.
lawn. This perfectly good yard, you know. You can get a shovel. I didn't provide a shovel as an amenity.
Jesus, man.
These fucking people.
It's every day is something.
Although, I mean, just kind of to make my point, I do think that homeownership is work, and I think that there's a lot of risk involved. And I think, okay, so they got mad at me one of the last arguments I got in. in that group was when they were going on about like the landlords. And I had said something about, yeah, I hate poor people who rent too. Like, or I said something like, yeah, I hate poor people who refuse to buy a house too, or something. The irony is I was renting an apartment. Yeah, I was like renting an apartment when I said it, but
they will seethe without fail whenever you bring up landlording.
Yeah. Ew, I hate poor people.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Well, I think you've made some very good points there as far as homeownership is hecking cute and valid. It's it is a real job. And it's something that you can't just take time off from. You can't really wash your hands of it easily like a normal job, you know? It's something that will stick with you in a big way. So I want to thank you for that.
Said you needed me to come on to get that point across.
I think that you really helped offer, a perspective. I think that you really helped to
I can't tell if you're being a dick or not. That's the thing.
Owning home
No.
good.
I mean, the other thing is, I guess the bigger point is that we live in a free market. So if somebody says, "Hey, I've got this thing. Do you want to borrow it for X amount of dollars per month?" And you're like, "Yeah, hey, I could really use one of those things and I've got X amount of dollars per month." Those two people get together and they have a contract, in the form of like a lease agreement. And some third party comes in and says that they don't like that these two people entered into an agreement. And that's the bigger picture is, the irony of it is that it's okay to rent your body for somebody to penetrate. And that's real. Oh no, that's real word. Bend over and like, let I use you as a orifice. Yeah.
Now I do want to say that sex workers are basically just landlords of their own body and they're renting it out. So
Yes,
I'm okay
I
with
agree.
sex workers.
I agree. As long as
they're attractive.
Well, as long as they're renting it out themselves and someone else isn't renting it out for them.
No, because you could be a property management company for these things, and I think that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I just remembered the thing you said earlier during the Pope article. You mentioned MasterCard.
Yeah.
MasterCard pulled the plug on Pornhub. Are you aware?
They took down all the child porn. Finally.
To bring it all, the Ouroboros, we're eating our own tail now.
Because of money.
Okay. Yeah, well, they took it down because of human trafficking.
No, they took it down because of money.
Because of money? What do you mean?
They really fucked my business over.
Because MasterCard said they weren't going to support the platform anymore because of all the shit surrounding them.
In 2 weeks, MasterCard's going to be like unveiling their own porn site.
Yeah. No, I mean that MasterCard pulled the plug on Pornhub because there were a lot of videos that were they couldn't prove that they weren't. I think it had to do with sex trafficking.
Yes, I've seen many of them.
Yeah, the sex trafficking videos. And so that's why MasterCard, or at least that's what they said was their reason.
It's like how we went into the Middle East because they had weapons of mass destruction.
Okay.
That's the reason we went in there. No, it's pure altruism, baby.
But why can't you believe that MasterCard doesn't want to support that shit? Maybe somebody high up at MasterCard has a family member that was affected by it, and they think human rights.
At that point, it's not altruism. it's revenge.
MasterCard processes payments for like companies that have kids mine cobalt and like shit like that to make computer parts that are like objectively worse.
Pretty much no company is without blood on their hands.
Absolutely. I'm not saying that they should feel guilty for doing that. I think it's a natural order, but anytime I see someone say we're going to do this for a moral reason, I'm immediately extremely suspicious because as somebody who broadly lacks morality, it makes me suspicious when other people, you know what I'm saying?
Think about the consequences of this, though. Like in the real world, you have all these, closet pedophiles who aren't going to be able to get their fix on questionably young-looking girls, videotaped on Pornhub, and they're going to go out there and do something. So,
I forgot.
What do you
They've got to get their outlet, kind of.
Yeah.
The old libertarian argument.
Yeah, I
don't know about that one.
Years ago when I was young, I thought I was a libertarian, and then I actually realized, like, as I got older, that I'm like, no.
You graduated high school.
Exactly. Pretty much. I mean, I think I was still a libertarian sort of up until age 24 because I voted for Ron Paul.
Okay, Ron Paul was pretty big.
Romulus.
Yeah, 2008. Sorry. Yeah, 2008. But after he lost, I don't know why I said 2004. I don't even know who ran. I wasn't into politics. The first thing I could ever vote in was 2008, and that was like the first time I ever really paid attention to politics.
But have those people come out of the woodwork yet to make that argument that I just made
about
this whole situation with Pornhub?
Wait, which people have?
Because I wasn't being serious.
You mean the pedos? Have they come out of the woodwork?
No, they can still watch cuties. They're watching cuties, so they're all good. They're like, Pornhub, I haven't used that for like 3 months, dude.
Yeah, that's funny. I don't know if you guys saw Cuties.
I did not. I avoided it like the plague.
Yeah, I watched it and it bothered me. And I can be pretty
You did that
liberal.
to yourself.
Well, I watched it because we were going to talk about it on the podcast, and I wanted to actually have like real knowledge, not what other people said about it.
That sounds like an excuse to engage in suspicious activity.
I also watch questionable material for research purposes.
It was bad enough that my husband are sitting there and like he had to keep turning his head, and I had to tell him when it was over. It was pretty much, there was no story. There was literally no story, no plot, no character development, none. And then there's like random scenes. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And it was just an excuse to zoom in on a little girl's crotch gyrating we're talking minutes. I'd say there was a huge percentage of the movie that all it was little girls gyrating. And then a girl lifted up her shirt and you get to see her 11-year-old breasts, whatever.
I feel like the word gyrating got a lot of exposure from this movie.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable.
I couldn't make it more than 5 minutes through that movie.
It was
until a few hours later. Am I right?
I knew you were gonna. I was gonna say it, but okay, so it pretty much, that's all it was. The majority of it was just an excuse to watch little girls kind of shake around and zoom in. The weird thing is the cinematographer would zoom in on just their crotch, so you don't see what's going on. All you see is a butt shaking around, or their crotch, or their chest, and it was just weird because all of it was gratuitous.
What do you think like the cinematographer's thinking while he's capturing these shots? Do you think he's like, nice?
I didn't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about it.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
These people are prime candidates for the grill logs. Just fucking round them up and send them in camps, dude. Fuck these people.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's disgusting.
That's the only group that, there's like the matriculation rate on that crime.
The what now, huh?
Why did I say matriculation? That's when you go to college.
I know that word. I'm smart.
I am like so tired. The recidivism. This recidivism.
Oh, okay.
Why did I say matriculation? That's when you go to college. The recidivism rate.
Do you know why I didn't know that word?
I said recidivism. I told you I'm epileptic, right? I was just having a seizure right there. The recidivism rate is very low.
Yeah, they don't just get fixed. It's kind of one of those things. Sending gay people to camps didn't fix them. So how are we gonna fix it?
But that's true. You can't, outside of like castration and hormone therapy and severe like brain shocks. You really can't chemicals and what?
A lobotomy.
Oh, a lobotomy, yeah.
Well, that's why we send these people to the grill log, because there's no fixing them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
That's how the show was started. A lobotomy.
Speaking of that, it might be how it ends too, because Annika, do you feel like you're smarter or dumber for having been on this show?
Dumber. This is way past my bedtime. It's funny. I think that you guys had to keep me up an extra 2 hours just so I could be at your like level. I'm sleep deprived.
Well, you're in good company.
Yeah. No, it was fun. I'd like to. We could actually write down some topics if we ever want to like talk again, and I think that would.
Oh yeah, you want to come back on?
Sure. Not anytime soon, because I'm like I said, I'm busy. Let me get through the holidays.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, it's been fun. Could you guys record earlier?
No.
Yeah, Micah, can we record earlier?
I work for a living.
Well, so do I, but I have to be up at like 4.
Yeah, I have to be up at 6 a.m.
I get up at like 9:30, 10.
Okay. Yeah, no. I'm like taking my lunch break at 10:30. I'm just saying, like, I would love to chat more and like we could all be energy, like kind of have, we could bring it.
Yeah, get on my level of energy, throwing out zingers all night.
Yeah. You are clever though.
Thank you.
You're proof. See, the incels think that it's all about the looks, but you're proof that that's not true. I'm serious. You clever Max, and you look. Are you familiar with like all the terms?
Very much so. Yes, I'm trying to get someone from the incel forums, like one of their moderators, to come on here and like give their case, because I actually have a lot of compassion and sympathy for them.
I feel
like
a lot of sympathy for some of them. Another portion of them are just shitheads that they shouldn't procreate. There's a number of them that are just assholes.
Yeah, that is definitely a woman's perspective.
They're a little entitled.
Yeah, now there are a lot of good ones too. Meaning, there's all different kinds of people. But
some I assume are good people.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything you want to plug to our literally dozens of listeners before you get out of here, or do you want to?
My regular thing that I do, like we do it Tuesday nights. It's live on YouTube. It's the I Hypocrite channel. It's called Sex Wars. We've interviewed some hilarious people like John McAfee, the billionaire that's wanted for murder. We interviewed him.
He's innocent, by the way.
Okay, I know he is.
We did a whole episode.
I'm completely serious about that.
We had Stefan Molyneux on our show.
Now, you had Andrew Tate on your show a couple of times.
Yeah.
I love that fucking guy. He is awesome. He's hilarious.
I thought he was hilarious the first time we brought him on because I didn't know what he did for a living. I thought he was like
So you think he's hilarious?
Yeah.
He's funny. You don't get to unthink that.
I don't agree with his lifestyle choice, his career choice.
Sure.
I actually thought he was a real estate investor. Funny how
I mean, he's investing in some kind of real estate.
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite, which is one we don't really ever talk about that much, is Dick Masterson. He was hilarious. He's like high energy too.
He's a funny guy. I watch his show a lot.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Are you done dunking on us?
Yeah. I have to go leave and cry now. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll definitely have you again sometime. And peace out, my gorillas.
Okay.
I'm old as a boomer. My mind said on Zoomer. Everything cooler, long as I'm not Laura Loomer. If you think I'm not number one, I done spelled that rumor. Hit that victory royale on some motherfucking coochie. Default dance on a bitch. Hit the default dance on a bitch. Floss dance while I'm flossing in a whip. Victory royale when that chopper hit. Self-incrimination, I have no participation. News keep asking, I don't say shit. You can't have my conversation.